Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we're doing a tutorial for the module 3053 in this WV-59 Casio Waveceptor. Just like in all my other tutorials, in the description you will find a table of content with time codes, so you can jump to specific parts of the video or functions of the watch. However, I would advise you to watch the whole video the first time, just so you get acquainted with all the functions that this watch offers. Now, since this is a Waveceptor watch, it means that it can connect to the 5 towers in the world, with only the China tower missing. So once you set this watch up initially, if you live within the range of the towers, you will never have to touch it again. It's gonna automatically always be accurate down to the second. Now, this first initial setup means that you have to tell the watch not only what the time and date is, but most importantly what your home city is, so that it knows to which tower to tune in. Now, to set up the watch, you have to be in the home screen, and you're going to recognize the home screen with the calendar data being on top, and the main time being here, and day of the week here. Once you're in this home time mode, to initiate the setup, you press and hold the adjust button. So press and hold until the watch enters the adjusting screen like so. And the first thing that the watch is going to ask you is to select your home city. Now, like I said, this is the most important setting. Not only does it tune in to the correct tower because of this, but also all the times in the world time function are actually calculated based on what you set your home city as. So to toggle between the cities, you can go due east and you can go due west with the upper button. So these two buttons are going to change the values, while the mode button is going to be used to cycle what values you change. So once you select your home city, let's say in my case it's Berlin, and you don't have to select the exact city that you live in. It's only important to have the city that's in the same time zone as yours. So if you live in a smaller city that's not listed in this watch, you simply find the biggest city that's in your time zone. It's probably going to be in this watch, because it does cover all the time zones on Earth. Anyways, once you've selected the home city, you press the mode button. Now the watch is going to ask you whether you want it to have the DST or daylight savings time, which is the summertime, automatically adjusted via the towers, or you can manually turn it to off or on if you want to bypass the tower information, because some time zones, let's say, do not observe daylight savings time, and more with each passing year, but the towers still send the data to switch the watch to DST. So this way you can bypass that by pressing it off, let's say to off, and it's gonna ignore the signal from the tower when it comes to the DST. If your time zone does observe the DST and you are within the range, you simply put it to auto, and the watch is automatically gonna switch between winter time and summertime. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the 12 or 24 hour display, but I just missed it, so let's go back. Like so. So once you select the 24-hour display, you're going to have the military time displayed. If you toggle to a 12-hour display, you're going to have the AM and PM indicator. I always prefer the military time, so we're going to leave it like this. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the seconds. Now, to reset the seconds, you press the lower button. If you reset the seconds between 30 and 59, the seconds are going to jump to 0, but the minutes are going to change by 1 up. If, however, you reset the seconds between 0 and 29, like now, they're going to jump back to 0, but the minutes are going to stay unchanged. So we're just going to test it once we pass the 30-second mark. Okay, so this is now between 30 and 59, so resetting the seconds, you will see that the minutes are going to jump to 55, like so. Again, since this is now from 0 to 29, if we reset the seconds now, they're not going to jump to 56, they're going to stay at 55. So let's do it again, like so. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the hours. And now you can use these two buttons, just like when we were cycling between home cities, to move up, to move down, and you can even speed scroll by pressing and holding one of the buttons, like so. Let's go back. Like so. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask us for the minutes. Again, you can go up, you can go down, and you can again speed scroll. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask us for the year. 2020, 2021, again you select the appropriate year, and press the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the date, for the month first, like so. You can go up, you can go down. Pressing it again, it's going to ask you for the date, like so. The watch is not going to ask you day of the week because it calculates it based on the data of the month, date, and year. So it has an automatic calendar. Now, as you can see, this is one of the rare watches where you can have the data displayed in the international way, not the US way, where you have the date and then month. However, if you live in the US and you're used to having month and then date, you can change that. So once you press the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the language. This is also one of the rare watches where you can change the language of the day. So you have English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, German, Italian, Chinese, Russian, Japanese, and back to English. Pressing the mode button again, and now this is what I was talking about. So you can choose whether you want the data, the calendar data, to display date and then month. If you press the lower button to toggle it, you're going to have the month and date like they use in the US. Since I live in Europe, I'm going to leave it at date month. Pressing the mode button again, the watch cycles back to the selection of the home city. So in case you messed any of these settings, you simply press the mode button to cycle to it and then change it. To exit the adjusting screen and save all this information, you simply press the adjust button, and that's pretty much it. So that's it. Once you've set up the watch, now every night it's going to try to connect to the tower. If the connection is successful in the morning, this little display here is going to be light up all the way. So you're going to have, because this indicator here is also used to indicate the level, the signal level. You have level 1, 2, 3, and it's also indicating that the watch had a successful sync last night so that you know that it's accurate. Naturally, this is going to get reset every night. So in the morning, if it's like this, empty with no black color inside, that means that the last night's sync was unsuccessful, or you manually change the time, because as soon as you manually change the time, the watch can no longer guarantee in a way that it's accurate down to the second, so it's gonna erase this display. Now, while in the home city, home time mode, you can also initiate a manual reception of the atomic tower by simply pressing and holding this button. So press and hold. The watch is going to enter the get screen and it's going to start receiving the signal. You're going to have this RC here, and as you can see, we're currently at level 0 and level 1. It's catching level 1. Once it catches level 2, this little dish is going to light up. If it catches level 3, these antennas are also going to light up. Since I live on the very edge of a successful reception, this is probably not going to reach past level 1. To cancel this, you simply press the button like this. Now, if you want to see when the last reception or successful reception was, you can enter the get screen again in the home city by not holding it but just pressing this button. So once you press it, it's going to get into the get screen. It's going to tell you that it was on 14/11/2018. That was the last successful reception. Now, another thing that you can do in the get screen is turn off the automatic reception. So in case you live outside of the coverage of the towers, you don't want to stress the battery out by the watch trying to connect up to 6 times in the night trying to catch the signal that's not there. So once you go or travel or live in an area where you know there is no signal, you simply go into the get screen, you press and hold the adjust button like so. And now, as you can see, this is blinking and saying on. Toggle it with the lower button to off and exit with the adjusting screen. And now you just turned off the automatic atomic reception. So now the watch is not going to be trying up to 6 times in the night. To get back into the home screen, you simply press the get button again. Now, another thing that you can do in the home screen is activate the backlight by using this, as you can see. And another thing and final thing that you can do in the home screen is turn on what they like to call a cycle screen, where it's gonna display the home screen for 5 seconds and then the world time for 5 seconds. To do so, you press the upper button, and then while you're holding this, you press the lower button for about 2 seconds. So press and then hold this, and there. And now, as you can see, the watch is gonna display our home city for 5 seconds, and then it's going to switch to the world time for 5 seconds. And as you can see, even in the world time, you can always see the home city, the home time displayed here, like so. I don't know if it's kind of a cool feature, and it's pretty unique to this watch. I've never seen a Casio watch that does this. To cancel this transition, you simply press any of the buttons and it's going to jump back to the home screen. And the last thing that you can do in the home screen is not just home screen, you can do it in any screen unless you're in the adjusting screen, is turn the mute function, where pressing the buttons doesn't make any sound. To do so, all you have to do is be in any of the screens except adjusting screen and press and hold the mode button for more than about 3 seconds. So press and hold, and there, the watch just jumped to the world time and it also activated the mute function. So let's say we go to the stopwatch again. If you press and hold, it's going to jump to the next function and turn off the mute function. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the home screen. Now let's move on to the next function. The next function is the world time function. Now in the world time function, the watch is going to write what time zone is selected as the world city. It's going to display the time in that world city. It's going to tell you what the offset is compared to the UTC, so -5 for New York City. And over here it's going to display your home time, which is pretty useful. Now, sadly, you can only cycle one way, due east, by pressing the lower button. So you can only go one way. Pressing the upper button is just going to activate the backlight. Also, it doesn't have that shortcut to UTC like many G-Shocks that have one-sided cycling. So, sadly, like I said, just one way. So once you miss your time zone, you have to cycle it all the way around the globe to get back to it. Another thing that you can do in this world time function is turn on the DST or daylight savings time, which is the summertime, for each time zone individually. So once you select your desired time zone, let's say this or Kabul, if you want to turn on the DST, you simply press and hold the adjust button for more than 2 seconds. It's going to turn the DST and move the hours by 1 up. To cancel it or to turn off the DST, again, you press and hold. Once it beeps, it jumps back 1 hour. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the world time function. Pressing the mode button again, we jump to the next function, which is the countdown timer. Now again, even in the countdown timer and pretty much in all the functions, this watch keeps displaying the home time here, which is, like I said, very useful because using the function doesn't deprive you of knowing what the time is. This is one of the simplest countdown timers that Casio ever made. It is a 60-minute countdown timer settable up to 60 minutes in 1-minute increments. So if we started like this at 60 by pressing the lower button, it's going to start counting down. Once it reaches 0, it's going to beep for 10 seconds or until we press any of the buttons. You can also stop it and you can reset it with the upper button. And this adjust button. Naturally, like I said, you can set it up in 1-minute increments from 0 to 60 by pressing and holding the adjust screen to enter the adjusting mode. And now by using these two buttons, you can go up and you can go down. Now pressing the mode button doesn't do anything because, like I said, this is adjustable in 1-minute increments only. Pressing the adjust button is going to exit the adjusting screen. So now this countdown timer, like I said, is set for 60 minutes. Let's move on. The next function is the stopwatch. Again, a very simple 1/100th of a second stopwatch that can measure up to 1 hour. Pressing the lower button starts it, pressing it again stops it, pressing the adjust button resets it. You can also do split times, so start it with the lower button. Pressing the adjust button freezes the screen, but the stopwatch keeps running in the background. Pressing it again unfreezes the screen, and you can do the first and second place. So if you have two runners, when the first one goes through the finish line, you press the upper button. When the second one goes through the finish line, you press the lower button. Now once you've written the time of the first runner, you press the adjust button to display the time of the second runner, and then pressing it the second time resets the stopwatch. And like I said, again, make home time visible in this mode as well. And the final function is the alarm. This watch comes with only one alarm. To toggle on the alarm or the hourly chime where the watch beeps every hour, you use the lower button. So pressing it once activates alarm only. So now this watch is gonna beep, it's gonna sound the alarm every day at midnight. Pressing it again, it's gonna turn off the alarm but turn on the hourly chime. So now this watch is gonna beep every full hour to, sound the whole full hour. Pressing it again turns both of these on, and pressing it again turns both of these off. So you simply toggle with this button. So alarm, hourly chime, both off. Alarm, hourly chime, both off. You get the picture. Now, even if the alarm is turned off, as soon as you start adjusting it by pressing the adjust button and holding it to enter the adjusting screen, it's going to automatically turn itself on. So press and hold, and there. And as you can see, the alarm automatically turned on, and now the watch is going to ask you what hours you want the alarm to be set for. Using these two buttons, just like when we were setting up the time, you can go up, you can go down, and you can also speed scroll, like so. Pressing the mode button, the watch is going to switch to minutes, so again you can set it up to any time you want. Again, you can speed scroll these as well. So if we leave it like this and press the adjust button to exit the adjusting screen, this alarm is going to beep every day or sound off every day at 7:06 a.m. And that's pretty much it. Again, the home time visible up here. Pressing the mode button again, the watch jumps back to the home screen. And that's pretty much it. So a pretty simple watch, but because of the Waveceptor technology, slightly more complicated than some other very simple Casio watches. Well, that's it. I covered all the functions. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until the next video, bye.